Hey everyone, my name is Sophie from Sophisticated Organization. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Sophisticated Saturday where together we work through my to-do list and get things done around the house. Today's first task is unloading the groceries because I did a grocery pickup order at Target, which is probably my go-to in terms of where I get our groceries. It's always hit and miss with grocery pickup or delivery when somebody else is picking out your produce for you, but a lot of things that are prepackaged, it really doesn't make a difference, and you can always let them know if you, for some reason, get produce that is not great quality. For the most part, I don't have issues. Maybe it's not the exact apple I would have picked out, but it's usually just fine. So I'm unloading all of the fresh food. I also got some frozen fruit for smoothies. We've been enjoying those on the weekends, putting things away in the pantry, and then you'll see I have a big stack of cereal there. We just discovered Magic Spoon, which is so expensive, but it's supposed to be a little bit of a healthier cereal. I mean, it's still cereal, and I had a coupon and it was on sale, so I am trying out all of the flavors. I seriously got one of each, so if we do decide to splurge on another box in the future, then we'll know exactly which one is our favorite. I also had a couple of things to restock, and I'm doing this just so haphazardly and pouring it over the garbage can there and not pouring the top stuff out first. Sometimes I'll do that, but things like garlic powder that I go through really quickly, I just dumped that one on top because I know I'll go through it pretty quickly. Next up in this area is the living room. You all know that I do this every day, a lot of times twice a day. Just do a quick pickup of the living room. It turns to a mess so quickly, but it also is just about as quick to clean up. I will say the past weekend, we let things go like crazy and I didn't pick it up as much as I usually do, and it took so much longer to clean up. So sometimes I feel like it's silly that I do this multiple times a day or at least every day, but when I didn't, it was just way worse. I felt like it took me 30 minutes just to clean up all the toys. Before we get into the rest of the video, where I'm going to be going through a lot of our baby stuff, putting it away, Jim is going to be heavily featured in today's video, helping me out. I am going to prep a snack breakfast, do a little meal prep, and that's part of the reason I got some of this frozen fruit as well. I'm going to make a healthy layered chia pudding, but the chia seeds need to sit in the refrigerator for a while, so I want to make sure I get this done quickly so they can sit for a while and I can finish off the recipe at the end of the day today. So I am just blending up fruit and some almond milk as step one, and then I am going to add in some chia seeds as well as vanilla extract and some maple syrup. Those ingredients you just want to stir in. You don't want to blend up the chia seeds. I've done chia seed puddings before where you actually blend up the chia seeds, but for this one, you just stir them in. So I'm giving them a little stir, gonna put a top on them and let them sit in the fridge. Okay, we have kind of hit that point where we are transitioning out a lot of our infant gear and getting our more baby stuff out and just doing that switch. Jim was able to help me right now. Both boys were napping, so we decided that we were gonna tag team it and get as much done as we possibly could. We keep a lot of our baby stuff under the stairs here, so we have like extra car seats you'll see. We have extra diapers, a extra high chair. Actually, we have 2 high chairs under there. That's where we store our bassinet when we're not using it. So we're pulling out some of the diapers that we can probably bring up to the boys' rooms. The diapers are in the way back, so we're trying to get the next size ready to go because we don't want to trap those diapers in there. I also have some wipes we're pulling out. And I will say, It is so crazy how fast this happens. It feels like just yesterday I was pregnant and we were pulling all this stuff out, and now we are putting it all away. And some of this we're probably making the transition a little bit early. So Henry is almost 5 months old, not quite, and he has transitioned to sleeping in his room. We don't need the bassinet anymore. And then some things we're going to pull out. He's on the cusp of being ready for. He's not ready for it yet, but we figured since we had all this time today, might as well pull it out now and do that switch. We have a second high chair that matches Owen's that we got as a gift for baby number 2, and we are just trying to figure out which one is the one that Owen used, or which accessories did Owen already use, because he's not using the straps on his chair anymore. So we want to use the one that's already been used and just not dirty the new one. So we're trying to figure that out. We're pulling out the infant inserts and putting everything else in storage, and I'm trying to figure out what makes the most sense in terms of these large bins. Can I fit all of the high chair accessories in one or not? That booster seat didn't really fit. We have one of the little Jolly or Johnny jumpers. I'm not sure what it's called, but we have one of those from my brother and sister-in-law that we're borrowing until they potentially have another child, and a few other things we're going to pull out before we pull out the new high chair that we are going to build. And you'll see, yes, we have a third high chair back in there, that white one. That is our Graco high chair. We started with that one, and I learned a lot more about infant feeding, a little bit about baby-led weaning, baby positioning when they're eating, and really wanted to upgrade our high chair, even though we had just used the other one for a very short period of time. I had major regrets over it and am obsessed with the high chair we have now for Owen. It holds an adult, so an adult can sit on it. And yes, I could transition Owen to sitting in a booster seat or sitting on a normal chair at this point. But honestly, he really likes it, and I love that I can wipe it off and clean it really easily, and he's not making a mess of our really nice dining room chairs. So I'm keeping him on that chair for as long as we can, and then putting Henry in this one with all of the infant attachments. And then once he gets a little bit bigger, he can also stay in this chair, and Owen can stay in the other one. Thank goodness I have Jim to help me build the high chair this time. I don't know if you remember when I built this the first time with Owen. It has been a while, but I built it all by myself, and it's just a lot easier to have a second set of hands. Also, he uses a drill to help screw things in a little bit more, which is very helpful and just makes the process go by a lot easier and faster. I'm reading the instructions. We're trying to figure out where to position everything, and it's just nice, again, to have somebody to bounce the, not necessarily ideas off, but what I'm planning on doing as I'm building it. Because if you've built furniture like this before, there are so many times when you're reading the instructions and you're like, okay, am I doing this right? Is this what they're trying to tell me to do? Is this the right direction? So I know a lot of people fight when they build furniture together. It's like a test for people to build IKEA furniture, but Jim and I usually do pretty well when we're tag teaming these tasks together, and I thought it'd be fun to just show the process that is involved with switching all of this baby gear over. We didn't have the infant inserts, or at least we didn't use them with Owen because we had this high chair after he was a little bit older. He used the Graco one for his true first couple of months of eating. So we're trying to figure out how to do this, get it all attached. And I'm not sure how well this is going to clean off because it's like a fabric piece. So I'm a little bit worried about that. We're not planning on really starting solids till Henry can fully sit up on his own around 6 months. That usually is. He cannot sit up on his own right now, but we are starting to introduce peanut butter for allergens. I know things go through so many different phases in terms of recommendations for infant and baby feeding, but the current recommendation is to introduce allergens early. So we are starting with peanut butter. Our pediatrician says 3 times a week, just give him a little taste of it. So we have been doing that. And I also want to start to get him comfortable sitting in the high chair as he's getting more comfortable sitting upright. Once I got that upstairs, we are now going to take down the pack and play. I love having this set up with a newborn just because it's a safe place to put them. They're napping all the time. So it's just another spot downstairs that I can safely put baby down for a nap. And it has kind of served its purpose. He is at daycare now, so it's not like he's at home all day, every day, and I need lots of different napping places on the weekends. We are usually out and about, so he's doing a lot of naps on the go, and if he is home, he takes a nap in his crib at this point. And the other reason I like having it is because it has that changing pad on top, so it's been a great place to change him. But again, he's getting longer and doesn't really fit in there as well anymore, so we mostly just lay down a blanket if we're going to change him in the living room area, change him, and then roll up the blanket. This activity center has gone through a bunch of different phases. It really is nice because of all the phases it goes into, but I didn't think about the fact that when we had a second, it would take away from how our first was using it. So it's great that it transitions from an activity center that a baby can stand in to a table. They also sell little cute chairs that go with it. Owen's been loving using it for Play-Doh, so he can play with Play-Doh upstairs because we want to have him contained. And now that Henry's getting to the point of being able to use it, I'd rather transition it back for Henry to use. And unfortunately, Owen is going to lose his Play-Doh table and going to have to play with it in the basement. I'm also now in Henry's nursery, just refilling the diaper pail with a new trash bag. And when I was downstairs in the basement, I grabbed more of Owen's old clothing. I have been slowly shifting things up, and I had an empty drawer with space to put his, I think it's up to 12-month clothing that I grabbed. So I am just going through that. I don't know what happened, but there were a few things that actually still had stains on them that I don't know why I saved, or I'm going to try and wash one more time and then I'm going to get rid of them. I have been thinking for a while that I need to just go through the house with all the kid stuff, and we have too much stuff in general, but kid stuff already. I just need to do a quick purge of everything. With the sophisticated declutter, we're getting really close to the buffer week where I have built in some time to declutter kids' toys, but I'm also feeling it with clothing. I'm feeling it with just a lot of different things. So I am in major need of a declutter, which I'm sure I will be sharing on Instagram or YouTube just so you can see all of that. But in the meantime, I'm going to be folding all of Owen's old clothing here and getting put away in the bottom drawer. I don't have drawer dividers for the bottom drawer, but that's completely fine with me because I don't really think it matters how organized this 12-month clothing is when he's not even 5 months old because we're not going to be pulling it straight from that drawer. I'm going to rotate it up before he gets to that size. You'll see, even though I don't have the drawer dividers, I'm still folding it in the way that I would, file folding style, and organizing it within categories. The far left is pajamas. Then I also have some jeans and pants, shirts, and then short sleeve items are on the far right. And then the other thing I've been wanting to do is update the labels. I have been putting labels on the physical drawers themselves, listing out what is in each column or row, I guess. Column makes more sense, of the drawer, and then what size is in each drawer. I've been putting on the side of each drawer 6 to 9 months, or right now we have 3 to 6 months. And as I've been moving clothing up, I've been able to shift a lot of these labels, just like pull them up and move them up. But there are still a few new categories that I need to switch out. Like he had one that said swaddles. He doesn't use swaddles anymore, so I just changed it to say sleep sacks. Probably nitpicky of me, but I like to have everything obviously hyper organized. If you have met me or followed me for a while, you know that. I did a final quick cleanup of the nursery. Then I'm going to put this too small bin back in Owen's closet. So when he wears clothing and it's too small for him, it'll go in that bin. I also need to fix Owen's room a little bit, clean it up, make his bed. I'm still really liking his new bed, his bedding. I love the Long Live Boyhood above it. I like the whole like black and white style of his room. The one thing I'm not a fan of is his bed being pushed up against the wall. It is such a pain to make the bed, but with a toddler in a big bed like this, it is nice to have it pushed against the wall so he doesn't fall off of the bed. He's never done that, and part of it is probably because it's pushed against the wall, and I don't think this room makes a lot of sense to flip it in any other direction. It's too tight if I do it a different way, but it's just a pain to make the bed. One more thing I am going to do, I'm switching out the spring bookshelf for a summer bookshelf. And I started doing this when Owen was in his little boy room, his nursery, and I would do it every single month. I've still kind of been doing that, but I don't know. The books don't stay up there as much because he's wanting to read all of them. He like points to what he wants now or tells us what he wants now. When he was a baby, it just sat there and looked really pretty for the most part. And as Henry gets older, I don't want to have the fun bookshelf in Owen's room or necessarily have to do 2 of these bookshelves, one for Owen and one for Henry, and buy like a bunch of themed books for every month. We have enough books as it is. I don't need to be buying a lot more. So I'm thinking like maybe it'd be fun to do something in the basement because that's kind of like their play area, and do it so they can both enjoy it as they get a little bit older, and maybe we'll have a third kid or something, and then I would be potentially doing 3 bookshelves. But for now, I am trying just to do it in Owen's room, and the bookshelves that Owen had in his previous room, there are only 2 of them and they're longer. So all of the fun signs that I made don't really fit on these 3 levels as well. So I made this fun sign for his last bookshelf that said "Hello Summer." The hello is the only part that really fits, and it barely fits. So I'm going to leave the hello up with the sunshines and put up another little banner that I got from Etsy, and I might just remake the summer part or redo something completely for his bookshelf that fits a little bit better. So that is pretty much it for today's video. I'm going to pop downstairs right before we're done, and I am going to finish off that chia pudding because it had time to sit in the refrigerator. The last step is just to grab your chia pudding, put it in some smaller dishes, and layer it with Greek yogurt. So I'm going to prep that for easy breakfasts and snacks, layering chia pudding, then yogurt, then chia pudding again. And whenever you are ready to eat this, then you can top it with some fresh fruit or frozen fruit, a little bit of granola. That's what I did. I really liked the contrast of this smooth, creamy dish with a little bit of a crunch. So I hope you enjoyed today's Sophisticated Saturday, a little insight into our life here. I really appreciate you being here, but until next time, I will see you all later.